that you really miss a lot of things. That is the news updates, the sports news, the Christian news and diaries, healthy living, moving into lifestyle, and the business treasure tip. And we summit at the top of 8 a.m. with a topical discussion. Well, today we're going to be looking at something really interesting. Yesterday, the deputy director of Butabika Hospital came out and said there's actually a big surge in Butabika. Butabika is not just a mental health hospital, but a national referral hospital. And many of these people are young people between the age of 15 to 25 years. I would like you to join us in this discussion using the number 0746405060 by sharing kuracholooza waliwo this particular increase mubana okubanga bakozesa ebiragalalagala, that is of course alcohol and substance abuse. Well, in studio I do have my co-hosts, that is Don Stewart, G the Guru, and Susie the Rich Babe. You can see the Friday vibes are already in. Good morning, Sunrise. Why are you looking? But Sue, why always? Why always?
Why?
You always have the reactions.
Yeah, so you don't want me to react?
I don't eject to know the Anyway, friends, good morning.
Good morning.
What you people are excited ka Idi, basama salting moka Saturday, ka Sunday, Monday.
Nine yanga binti Susan. Ninda comments on Falls. The weekend is long. Nanga, yeah. Katoba yangenze jo akomoba command. People can love themselves.
But it could be a
travel to Ginger this weekend.
Oh, wale yapoza ne Ginger mukolanga yochi budi Saturday. Oba ne Friday bala baby bus ebigende. What's in Ginger?
Ginger water rafting.
What you might know adi ne gogolo.
Yes.
Oh.
By what you name
I can't wait.
Nene.
Nzenzagala gogolo.
Gogolo mobisoto.
No way. There is this upgraded one. You're joking. I should take you.
Of soap.
Don Stewart, good to have you back.
It's good to be here again.
How
are you guys doing?
Missed you. We are fine.
Good.
Doing well.
Okay.
A very good morning, dear viewer. I hope you're doing well this morning. Yes, it's a Friday and it's Idi, so Idi Mubaraka. Yes, our dear Muslim viewers. We hope that you'll have a good day today.
Well, friends, State of the Nation address more to that.
Twajira nayenze nenze $500 billion worth
$1 million.
Billion
dollars.
Worth $500 billion. I just, the State of the Nation address, I always want to hear things like, for us to get to that point of being worth $500 billion, we need to have the electric cars, we need to have that, we need to have this, we are going to have this.
Wow, very interesting. A lot of things were shared. For example, the financial year budget, close to 71.4 trillion, in there, gold and coffee were the two key products in terms of export that dominated and brought in a lot of money. But just like you said, G, $500 billion is going to be a lot of money. But away from the State of the Nation address, I think we shall look at it more next week,
Yes.
But away from that, something jaw-dropping happened yesterday. And the deputy director of Butabika Hospital came out and said, Banagi Chikambwe. I mean, they have noticed a 30% increase in terms of admission. Almost every day they're admitting 20 patients. Currently, Butabika Hospital is a national referral hospital. So it's not just a hospital where people go fall sick, but there are also other really hospitals. The same we have Mulago Hospital. So she comes out and she shares and says, young people are on drugs and substance abuse and alcohol. This is the reason why we are seeing this particular surge. And I want us to really start from this particular point. When Butabika was started and some of the services that it offers. So far, what I know that when it was built for close to 800 bed capacity. But right now they are overwhelmed with close to 1,300 patients.
Yes, Butabika National Referral Hospital, Mental Hospital was established in 1955.
Yeah.
1955, in Uganda's sole National Psychiatric Referral Institute. Now, this hospital is located approximately 12 kilometers from the east of Kampala to Butabika. Now we said, how do you calculate that? The kilometers is the center from the post office.
Yes. The post office is always the
always
yardstick
the
measurement for
yardstick.
everything.
For everything, what would it
Wow.
16 miles, 20 miles, it's from the post
From the
office.
post office.
Wow.
So from the post office to Butabika is 12 kilometers, and it serves as a central hub for mental health care, education, and research. Maybe people thought that it is only for
Or a hospital.
a hospital, but it has helped very many researchers, psychiatric doctors, like seriously so. And it is a very serious institute in terms of study, supporting these doctors.
Jane, I'm sorry.
But
You know what?
That's what I told you. Our reactions.
Wagambia research and what I remember that thing with Bagamanti Nganzizo kola intern in a mental hospital. No la bomlalunga.
No,
How these doctors react banaba pia bazo kusoma. Baba internet.
interns.
But interns bambi omulalo nabo kayo boy and you see their reaction to you people.
no, I was interacting with one of the people in the medical field who happened to be a nurse, and they used to take them for placement. So one of the places where they took them for placement was in Butabika. So I was like, so are you going to specialize in psychiatry? And she was like, nkubulire sisobola. Because the reason yagamba mukwano olaba n'abantu abakola mu like the doctors in Butabika at a certain point batuuka ne bafaanana nga abavuddeko. Jean, please continue.
Okay. Anyway, what are the services that are in this hospital? The hospital offers both general and specialized mental health treatment. That is why you said that you can imagine inpatients over 1,200 daily.
You can imagine.
Walk-ins.
Wow.
Walk-ins. And it caters at a wide range of psychiatric conditions. Now, it provides primary health care services to the surrounding community.
Yeah.
Not just the community, but also to the whole nation.
Yes.
And the bed capacity officially was set at 550. And then the hospital often accommodates between 850 to 1,000 patients, inpatients. Now, reflecting the high demand of its services. And additionally, its outpatient department handles approximately 350 clients daily, encompassing both general and mental health.
350,000 daily.
Daily.
That's
On a
outpatient.
daily.
350 or
Outpatient.
350,000.
350
Yeah.
on that door.
But you can imagine if the hospital was at its inception or when it was built from the Mental Research Institute and becoming the National Referral Mental Health Hospital. If it was built at 550 beds and yet now it's having inpatients between 850 to 1,000, that becomes kitegeeza waliwo abagenda okwebaka wansi.
Yeah.
Waliwo abagenda
Okimanyi
okwebaka.
mulimu VIP?
Eh? Now, ng'ogyeko VIP and all that, byonna wamu, it was meant to accommodate 550 beds. Okitegeera, VIP or no VIP, capacity was at 550 beds. Now, there was a report here I was looking at. It was in 2022 in the Independent. On the Independent, on their website, it was at February 18th, 2022. It says Butabika Hospital calls for reopening of regional mental units. Now, in this report, Professor Kinyanda, the chairman board of trustees of Butabika Hospital, says that before COVID-19, there were mental treatment units in different referral hospitals. Like you had one in Mulago, you had one in Chirudu, you had one in Masaka, you had one in all those hospitals, major district hospitals. Now, when COVID-19 came in, these were closed and they were utilized for treating COVID patients.
Oh, yes, yes.
Now, this caused a surge in the number of patients at the hospital. Why? Because now bonna abali babera dealt with, abali babera sorted with more mental units malwaliro ag'enjawulo bonna nga babatwala Butabika. Okitegeera. So that is why actually when you look at the same report, it actually says that this report that we are reading, Dr. Naku agamba nti surge eno ebaddewo actually after COVID-19. So to me, part of the reason why we are having this surge, it's because nti gundi mental units eno ezaali zirina oketalingira abalwadde b'emitwe in these different hospitals zonna ate kakati zakulozingibwa.
You know, Stuart, just adding on, do you know that Butabika Hospital has a general public wing and also a private section? That's where we see the children of big guys treated in that particular sector. But according to the UBOS report of 2024, it says that 5.5 million Ugandans actually suffer from mental health challenges, and that is close to 12% of the national population. So, well, what to get is this, Dr. Juliet Naku coming out and saying there's an increasing surge. Guys, there must be something really rooting and behind this particular increase in numbers, because if it's 350 per day, someone do me that calculation, 350 times 30 days in a month, that is close to how many people that are treated in terms of outpatient. Let me do the math. That is 10,500 people, patients that are treated.
But then that's that same report by the executive director of Butabika Referral Hospital, Dr. Juliet Naku, and she says, she went on to say that of the 20 patients admitted daily, in every 20 patients admitted daily, 30% of them are as a result of alcohol addiction and drug substances. She also says that in every 100 people screened, 30 require hospitalization, a statistic that she finds extremely worrying. Okitegeera nti buli bantu 10 bebatwala mu ddwaliro eryo, abantu 3 ku bo baba beetaaga okusigala.
But let me give you a simple recap. Like in 2024, the Uganda police reported 2,240 cases related to narcotics and drugs, marking a 6% increase from 2,113 cases in 2023. Of these, 1,496 cases were taken to court. 264 were not proceeded with. 480 were still under inquiry. A study conducted in Kampala slums and published in National Library of Medicine in 2023 also found that 34.9% of adolescents aged 14 to 19 years reported illicit drug use, and 16.1% were identified as high-risk alcohol users. The substance abuse is a leading contributor to mental health issues in Uganda.
You know, Uganda's population is dominated by young people. And when we say youth population, we are including from 0 to the age of 18 or 25 onwards. No, it's 35. 0 to 35 years. But when you examine and realize that there's this increasing surge, because Dr. Julie went ahead to say that, you know what, children are here between the age of 11 to 17 years.
11 to 17.
Yes. And then she also echoed that in the drug and alcohol unit, it's predominated by those that are between 18 to 25 years, university age group. And she said that's what dominates these young people. But if we have the young people that ought to drive this generation in the next 20 years, probably succumbing to some of these illnesses, I want us to explore why there's this continued prevalence. Is it because there is too much exposure of these particular drugs on the market, despite the fact that we see that you should not take alcohol even if you are, you shouldn't take alcohol unless you're above 18 years, but yet we still see these young people abuse these drugs?
It's very, very accessible actually. Very accessible. And the funny thing is that even those who look like they are poor, they can access it.
Sure.
There are people who can supply them. And it's funny how they easily find the people that supply them. Because you could be in a place, Ngolaba, it's a legit place. Nimagamba, I have my guy who brings these things. And they have gone as far as learning how to make them themselves. Nti, the weed, someone can do it, they can make it themselves.
Wow.
Themselves from home, and then they can even supply
Was it not something we talked about 1 week ago, G, where we say that drug is no longer sold like in the market where come and I get it, but more like you go for a party, then you have these cookies you're
We have
eating.
weed cookies,
And
we have
so you
weed
talk
cakes.
about those
Yeah.
lethals that they use to take
It looks
the
like a
drug.
pen.
Looks like a pen.
So you may not
modified
know.
kind of
Yeah.
channels.
Wow.
Yes, Lord.
But the thing is, from a point of view of a person who has lived in the ghettos and seen a few addicts, the truth is that substances, drugs, alcohol, in Uganda or down there, omuntu teyetaaga kubeera na ssente. Oba olina ssente oba tolina, you can access drugs. Omuntu asobola okuaccessinga vitamins, asobola okuaccessinga enjaga, asobola like oli ne bw'oba nga tolina ssente, even if you don't have a coin, you can actually get. That is how available it is.
And you know the funny thing, when it comes to those, the ones that they smoke, they can share it.
Yeah,
They can
that is
share
the
it.
thing. Down there in the ghettos, this is something that I noticed. I'll say the ghettos. I don't know about the middle class or the rich class, but down there in ghettos, when you go Machindi, Katwe, where I looked at the way people live down there, it's very easy for someone to share weed, to share marijuana, to share mirror. Oli asobola okugulira munne very free than okumugulira emmere.
No, let's even go to the bars.
Even the bars, yeah.
Now let's go to middle class. Someone can live home without a penny. That's why always abachala was omusajja abinanta ina sente. Omwenge yagunywedde atya. They go nagenda kubala. Because we've seen these big guys, the big tycoons who come and say all bottles on me. Ne baba wa first round. And someone can even tell you, can offer you a free beer. I mean, you want a beer? And someone one time said that singa buli omwe ina faith. Eyomunyu w'omwenge gy'alina singa tuli wala. Why? Because
agenda mubala nga kimanya ajja kuvaayo
ng'anywedde and he's sure there will be somebody to buy the bottle, and surely as he is, he will come home drunk.
You know, yes, Jay.
There is talking about, because me, I've been thinking, and as I listen to you guys, I kept wondering, where does it start from? But one of the things that I have seen, or that is slowly but surely creeping into our issue, is our lives and mental health, is the use of technology. Use of technology. Now, internet, and this is a report from the Uganda Communications Commission, which is saying that over 10 million social media users in the country, with many spending our routines, or who spend their time on social media, on TikTok, on Twitter, Instagram. Because of that overspending time on social media, it has seen mental health creeping into our nation. Silently. It is silently creeping in, and it is taking over. Now this has increased the overuse of associated overuse, which is associated to increased anxiety, depression, and feeling of loneliness. So because there is anxiety, someone just switches off. Someone is anxious because what is anxiety? Anxiety is trying to figure out the future and failing to live today. That is anxiety. But I mean, every time someone is anxious, they are wondering, hey, the future, how will it be? Today. So they are not thinking about today, they are thinking about tomorrow. But also the depression that has come in. So now, because someone feels depressed, at that moment they are going to find something that can easily help them come out of that kind of
depression.
By the way, you're trying to this thing as drugs are dangerous. But let me tell you, depression, the fact that you get feelings of depression and you run for a bar of chocolate, that can easily take you to another point.
I like what you are really giving ground to. You know, when you mentioned about technology, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, I realized the tendency we have as Ugandans. Omuntu ogenda nokera kumacha ala mweriwa, you get the phone kastoji jako, immediately WhatsApp, immediately TikTok, and the more you increase that trend, you will always have mental issues.
Yes.
But Jen, when you're talking about the depression, you know me, what I was looking at, it's the liberty that we get as we grow.
Yes.
First of all, you grow up in a family where if you have strict parents, they restrict your drinking. They make you look forward to drinking. Why? They will tell you, the moment you reach 18 years old, you have liberty to drink. Now, they give you the liberty, but they do not control. Because you're 18, they feel like you can now drink. Now you are drinking, but they're not showing you at what extent.
Should you
because for them, the moment they expose, like Okulo Gamba, Kastampesa 18. Nja kunywa. Now, because I'm 18 and now I can drink, now mami tena changamba. You can't tell me you can only have 2.
Susan, actually on that point, there is a report here on a website called BMC Public Health biomedcentral.com. You can go check it out. BMC, yes. It talks about a study that was done by BMC, and it says they conducted a health facility across a healthy facility cross-sectional study involving 854 children aged 6 to 17 years. Now, the prevalence of alcohol and other substance use disorders was assessed using validated curve. Of course, this is a research method. And now these were the results. The overall, it's, by the way, it's alarming. And this was, the article was released on 29th January 2024, just last year. And here are the results from the research. It says the overall prevalence of probable alcohol use disorders, and other substance use disorders was 27%. 27%. Well, the probable alcohol use disorder was 25.3%. Now, this is what is alarming. This is between 6 years to 17 years of age. Now, banabana bebalina disorders. Miaka mukaga ku miaka 17, 20 bayina 27.8% disorders.
But you know,
eziva ku mwenge.
there is something G and Sue have really echoed, Stuart, to what precipitates to this percentages increasing as young as 6. So mentioned something about accessibility. There is a black market right behind there where these drugs are sold. And getting back to what G had just echoed to why we are seeing this increase in prevalence when it comes to technology. When you look at the kids of rich guys, they give you a tablet, they give you a phone. Mommy, I need 1 million. Mommy, I need 2 million. And they are always given. Something you talked about, control and regulation, which does not usually happen. So you find that I believe parents are busy working and looking for money. And then these kids have nobody to confide to. They are transitioning from being a child to being an adolescent or a teenager. They don't know who they should share with. Maybe their auntie is also extremely far. At home, they're always very cautious on rules that they get to make sure that they're protecting their particular children. So you find this child is going to an international school. The international school they are going to, their friend is jazzing a story of, oh my God, we always fly here, we always fly here. And so the child lacks an intimate person they can share with some of this issue, which is the reason why we are seeing this increase among young people. And it is sad, like Stuart said, this, as according to Dr. Julie, that these numbers are increasing in post-COVID era.
When you said that, the accessibility, I remembered a movie written by Tyler Perry called The Haves and Have-Nots, basically showing us what happens in the rich families and in the poor families. There's a family that had a child who was addicted to alcohol. Now the parents knew and they tried to help, but this is what they did not do. They are trying to help, but the child is living in a house where there is alcohol. Like the child can access the alcohol bottles from anywhere. And yet you're saying, I'm helping you. Manya, I'm taking you to rehabilitation. Yes, you've taken the child to rehabilitation, but there is still accessibility. But anyway, let's not, I believe, I've seen people who are not only addicted to only these drugs, the weed. There is a drug called tramadol. It's tramadol. It's
the one
for
they gave us in the
medication.
hospital.
Exactly. I have seen someone get
It's a painkiller?
Yes, a strong painkiller. Someone got so addicted to it to a point that they had to be taken to Butabika.
Oh dear.
This painkiller, the pains that we get during peas for the ladies, and she kept, now because she knew when I go to hospital they give me tramadol, it had taken a long time, so she felt like she can do it. She started injecting herself tramadol. She got addicted. Ngomusanga ngensawo eberimu empiso neddagala. So for you would think that ekitwala abantu ebutabika, it's just weed and what? Weed and these other drugs, but also those strong painkillers. I think it gives them a certain relaxation mode. It got serious actually, that even at work she failed to work there because she was addicted. Right now, a child in recovery process, this thing has taken years.
But well, talking about such things, you see, the current trend, and I still want to say that the transition every generation comes with. In our years, as we were growing up, TV was the scare.
Yeah.
And our parents would say, oh, malanyo busela ko TV. But now, both are available. And now, there is, because of the scarcity of resources, because of the financial stability and instabilities in families. So you find that even the parent, for example, may not even have an option. For example, a child is given birth to, and the mother has to work. The father also has to work. And the easiest thing, I even don't even, because there is this notion and deception of, no, you see, you can work from home. Let me tell you, these jobs that you even do from home are more demanding than those that when you go to office, because you have to keep at it. You have to be on time, send the reports on
You have
time.
targets.
You have targets, you know. Now, the child is going to be put on Cocomelo.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
They are going to be put on, and they are given phones.
It took up. I wasn't, and then the guy told the child.
It's so
The child was going,
and that is our run to.
Even church,
even church, exactly. To make the child keep quiet, give them a phone
as a games, alabe Cocomelo.
Otherwise, buli muzadde ajja kutunulira yono mwana wange. Mwana ye lwaki tomusirisa.
The parents have made it so serious. Omushala yangamba nambuza, how do you get to plate? Kati goyinza protecting over from those cocomelons. Nembuza ndanzo wange tasobola kutuula bwati mbuwati mbwatulera hold on sibenviri impossible. She's a 2-year-old, she needs to explore. Nangamba munnange batuula nimuga, what do you do? Ngamba wesimu nebadda ku cocomelon.
Kati era I think we have to get to that point where we are very intentional as parents. And this intentionality doesn't have to be that you are fighting the trend. No. For example, I have a sister who told me that her son is getting to the teenage age. And of course, there are phones. Why? COVID brought us the phones.
Yeah.
Why? Every Saturday there is a lesson they are doing. They are online. So you're not going to deny them.
Yeah.
And you're not going to avoid giving them the data. Because after the lessons, they are going to go to whatever they are going to. And they will play their games, they have their games and and all that. But she told me, for me at 10 p.m., holiday time, bring.
Isn't 10
Give
too
me.
late?
Yeah, but that is their routine. So I want to believe that even us as parents, the value system does not have to die. Because the moment you say that, okay, Kwata, Esimo, Cocomelo, what is your value system? For me, my value system was, chick, keep quiet, don't cry, chiche chikavya. And everyone actually in church would look at me like, hey, this woman is sad. But let me tell you something. Today, I am seeing the result of, why are you crying? I don't have no phone. And there was no option for a phone.
Yeah.
We have come to church, we have come to pray.
Yes.
It is not, when it is time for children's church,
Go.
you go. There is a time my daughter at 2 years, she 2, 3, something like that, walking. She came and was crying. I asked her slowly. By the time I put up my head like this, every parent was looking at me, and I could imagine, and I could feel it, judge. And I
What
could
did you
really
ask her?
feel. No, I asked her, why are you crying? Go back to church. She turned back and went back to the children's church. Tosobola kugamba nti no oyagala kulya oze ng'oliira mu mmotoka ate era okyayagala ne mugamba olukyekikabya nti ate simanyami I want popcorn. They are serving popcorn in the children's church.
And you are in church.
Go back.
Kawali gozewa mami ajja kwogerereyo ndio mwana wange mumuwe.
Zenga kubanga we must have a value system.
Yep.
What are your values? Otherwise, keeping these children together, the trends have changed. Let us be honest. They have changed, and it is now very easy to slip into mental.
And
mental
when you said that,
I
I had a conversation with someone on Sunday, and I shared my story how some of my relatives got into the weed, the drugs. Nambuza, because we're saying my parents were tough. No, mine were tough. Mine. Then it took get to part where my relatives felt like it was actually okay to smoke at home, which was scaring for me.
It was okay to smoke at home.
The audacity. When
Oba
was it because the parents also were smoking?
No, they were not. But us as children, we've lost the respect for the parents. Until you feel like you have the audacity to come in your father's compound, take a corner and smoke. You very well know.
If you have I want to give you an example on that. our father used to bring a drink because he was in the police, and they would every weekend they would give them some tough drinks. What are they called? They not wines, of course, but spirits.
Whiskey.
Whiskeys. And I remember very well it was called Chinsano. Now he would just bring his bottle and put in the fridge. But let me tell you something. Like there was, this is what Sue is saying, the audacity. You think you have a right to smoke because
I'm home.
No. If they are doing it, you don't have to do it.
Yes.
If the drink is there, you don't have to open it and simanya pour there water and simanya richi, because at the end of the day, this one is teaching you to stay stable.
Let me tell you,
As a youth.
me, I used to ask myself, because me, when I saw Coachida, I was like, okay, I think it's a one-time thing. Like, you know, daddy is in the room, in the bedroom, but it doesn't matter about you. Me, I believe that your father should not even know that you're smoking. If it's a habit,
But
that
the parents were
has
very
crept
okay
in.
with it.
No parent is ever okay. Abela labom disrespecting them, but for their peace of mind, they can't always attack you. I mean,
They
you're 18
can't.
years old, yeah?
Let's
So I was thinking, how? Like, we are so disrespectful. You can even drink in front of your parents. Momas binomina family
Moya
events.
party.
You people
Now we
are-
know Sabayoka wine.
Let us read it from the audience. Well, dear viewers, to be a part of this discussion, we are talking about chechiletera abantu kubanga bagenda Butabika. Tulabi an increase in alcohol and substance abuse, and so you can let us know your thought and opinion nga okosa number 07 050 mukaga 0 kubanga otusindikira obubaka abo. What experience have you had over gwengo muzade chicholowoza je ayogedeko value system y'abazadde engeri je kyusemu? So you can use those and that particular number to send us your opinion over tag on our social media handles at Promise TV UG on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. We'll be reading those comments very promptly. Let's dive back into the discussion.
But I want to really think Omano kufuna such kind of audacity, it also goes back to the parent's negligence. Yeah. When a parent is so negligent, nti ina trends zotandisa okulaba mu mwana wo and you be complacent n'omuleka, or actually the way you bring them up from day one. Bwabanga kubanga kalyabayo no ulira omwana bwabanga throwing just a tantrum n'omuwa essimu to keep quiet,
They can never be disciplined.
bwakula obuntu buno butandika okudevelopinga agenda kufuna audacity. I know this entitlement because it's the parent. Kakati also the content they get exposed to. Jukira avudde wansinga, they get what they want. They will throw a tantrum and you're like, kale mumuwesimu mumuleke. Kati bwakula atandika okubanga ayagala okuexploringa because ye ng'omwana n'omubiri gwe kugenda kumutuma okuexploringa ebintu ebimu. Okitegeera now gwe okumustopinga bwobanga wamuyigiriza nti they will get anything they want at the time they want it, gwe okumustopinga okukola byayagala okugenda okuexploringa these drugs, these substances, kigenda kuba kizibu.
Stuart, let me help you. Why? Okay, you could be right to a certain extent, but this is what it is. There is a speaker, a lady. She's a speaker in Nigeria. She's also a trainer. She's called Joyce something, Obama Joyce something like that. She said a habit, it's something that you do every day. Because it's something that you do every day, it becomes a habit. Then it becomes an addiction. Yeah, you are used to doing it every day. Now, omwana na agenda tandikanga ta smoking ilawaka. With the kind of people that they associate with. They do it every day. Now, I took a point at home, probably they cannot leave, but because it's an addiction, it is demanding to be done.
Susan.
Now, wait. I'm saying this out of experience, not because but we are at a point where our parents, as they grow old, they get certain diseases. You know what? I choose peace for my life, because if I was to attack this child over that issue, it's going to be worse for me and them. Now, me, I want to believe, because now you're 18 years old, tagenda kubanga kugobanga every time. Stewart, there are things that you'll do right now and you be disrespectful to your parent and your parent might keep quiet. You know that? Nata kugamba anything because they believe at that age you know what to do. What is wrong and what is right. So Cynthia Bade akuwanga, but we've reached a point where a parent is like, aja kuogera, akugambe, no, what you're doing is wrong.
Absolutely. But in that particular line,
sorry.
I would want us to take a turn on the message you can give to parents who are struggling with their children, who are in alcohol and substance abuse, and especially mental health treatment is really expensive.
Yeah.
Those drugs are expensive. To see a psychiatrist, it will even be more than 150,000 for consultation.
But in these hospitals, someone told me that per month, those rehabilitation centers, the rich, for their children, they pay 5 million shillings.
Now that's really a lot of money. But Dr. Julie talked about how they're experiencing overwhelming capacity of these patients. Then she also talked about the funding gaps, that they need money to support them to increase on the infrastructure and the construction and help these particular patients. I want us to take the direction of what can a parent who's struggling now do to support their child, and maybe if there are some other organizations that do this particular thing.
Values from day on.
But Stuart had something to add on.
You see, so Ginny was there mentioning when their dad used to bring in whiskey at home, namteka mu fridge. Now they didn't touch the whiskey, did you?
And I
How
did
would you?
struggle with that.
And you didn't, because values from day one. Values from day one. In mentioning what I mentioned earlier, I was trying to give you a broader picture of why this child would end up doing things the way they do them, because they were used to getting what they want. Of course, to be honest, they had the values from nga babakuza naye ne batuuka ne batandika okukozesa they divert. But bw'obanga oyina ebintu by'otadde mu mwana okuva ku lunaku olusooka, there are certain things that you're not going to see. Jane didn't struggle with alcohol. Why? They had values. Much as a good bottle of whiskey abeeranga wow, but
maybe talking about a child who goes astray, because I mean we also had values.
Well, yes, everyone has values, and but I talking about that, it brings me to this point of, as a parent, what are you doing? Because I want to believe that is what Stuart is trying to say. What are you doing right from the start? Because for us, it was no option. You either wake up and have morning devotion, 6 a.m., or you wake up.
Either
you wake up from after 6 a.m., 6:30, sawe mu mulimu misa. Kwegamba entisa ya Mukama ng'ebalimu. Bagituteekamu by force. Now, call it religion, call it you guys are religious. Right now, for us, we are what? It does not matter at some point, because that one will save a child. When what you start putting in them, and by the way, the waliwo wetutuuka, it's by force.
They have to force it on
it
them.
Has to be done.
We are in a generation where parents don't know anything like forcing a child. Muleke bw'aba tayagala.
It is okay.
It's okay. No muleke bw'aba tayagala. Najja namwegayirira kakati munnange. No wali badde okola bwoti. Omwana w'emyaka 3.
Oyo mama yeyegayira obakaka.
Kakati no mukwano munnange wali badde okola bwoti, because this is so good for you. And meanwhile, the thing is here. Tuli mu kwegomba nnyo abazungu and cultures from the Western countries, from Europe, from where, and that is not us, and it's taking us down. N'abantu betwegomba benyini, look at their children. Omwana wa myaka 13, they have it all, and they are trying to get into society. Njaku example of my own self. I grew up in a community where bali banyo. I will tell you, as young as 6 years, I would take a bottle of beer, and it was okay. And that time
A whole bottle?
Yes, a whole bottle nga yange nga bampa. nga bwe tugenda somewhere with a certain uncle of mine nga ne stewart bamuweeyiye on the neighborhood bali basogola omwenge nga bayiisa nze omu ku baali basogola 6 years 7 years osegeera bwe babeeranga bali mu kusengejja nga naffe tubeera ojja n'ekikopo you get man the way if it only took God it only took the values that I've learned in Christianity to get away from alcohol, and if it wasn't for that I would be way
There's
worse.
Something Angel has asked and said, okay, now the child is there.
What
does the parent do? And this is where I am picking from Stuart. You see, psychologically, it is known that a child or anyone, not a child only, but a normal human being takes 60 days to transform from being something into something new.
Wow.
So when you introduce faith
60 days?
60 days every day, consistently, 2 months. With consistency, with consistency, not breaking, not saying at today it's a weekend, it's a public holiday. Consistently for 60 days, that person's mindset is going to change from what they have known before, and then they transform to something new. Now, there is a conversation we've had with parents, a group of parents, and someone came up and said, you know what, these days, especially I will talk to the fathers, don't feel shy, don't shy away from your children. Don't shy away from okubanga kati yengombo ya omwana omubi avumisa nyina
atomugeza
asanyusa kitawe. Let us just put it aside for once and then we understand that
tata naye ateekemu
tata naye aveeyo. You are busy, good. You are bringing the money, very good. You are bringing the food, perfect. You are giving us clothing, no worries. You have built the house.
And you know the implication of that saying is avumaganya nyina kubanga nyina teyateekanga responsibility in disciplining kakati asanyusa kitaawe because mama yakola omulimu omulungi so taata musanyufu. So kitegeeza taata somehow taking so much part in the discipline of the child.
This time let us also put effort, both parents, tata ne mama, so that it is not a job of the woman alone to raise these children. When a child, when you have a boy child, I want to believe that you want them to take over after you, are long gone, even when you grow up and you still have young ones, that there is this boy that you have mentored to follow after you, to come and fit in your shoes. Now, what do you do at that moment? If your child has slipped into mental illnesses, depression, anxiety and all, get time, walk with them, take a walk with them, talk to them. If they are not yet there, start now talking to them, because we don't have time. We don't have time as parents, and I so understand. I mean, we get here at 6 something.
There is a comment here, and it's a sister who asked her brother why he drinks. So this person sent a message and says, good morning. I once asked my brother why he is taking alcohol every day. And he replied that every day new types of drinks are being produced without effective regulation by the government, so he has to test new brand every day. And another comment comes in, and this person says, today's children are more blessed with more freedom by their .com parents and government. But during the earlier days, a child used to be parented by the whole community, which is not a case nowadays. Thank you for those comments, and keep them coming.
But saying that the government doesn't regulate is not true.
It's not true.
First of all, alcohol is taken by people who are above 18 and above. But also the fact that alcohol is not as cheap as people think. It is also regulation. And every year, there is a tax that is levied on alcohol.
And I think it should even be doubled.
And they keep doubling, but people still afford.
You people, do you know me what I was thinking, or what I've been looking at when you talk about this generation? We have mothers that are very protective. It is okay to be protective, but because you're being very protective, it's like you're shielding your children from getting information. You've met those mothers. Omwana abera mnyumba, omwana tamba, omwana tama ina chupa ya boto ya mwenge fanana. Why don't you show these children, show them omugambe ogo mwenge mubi. Give them your reasons. Yeah, don't, because let me tell you, if you don't give these children this information, the world is going to give it to them.
True, that's very true.
Uncle ajamu wa bottle ajinywe twakulanga or anybody or a neighbor, because our children switch from one house to another, nagina mnyumbe nakola, whatever it is. But if I tell this boy, don't you ever twakulanga batugamba tonywa mukyalo tolya mukyalo tokola boti, this is how it smells, this is how it is, don't ever do this. Do you know, I had someone who told me, Susan, boys punch drinks. If you ever visit a guy, sit next to a door. So that's what my big sister told me, and I'm like, baby sumulu, like, don't allow them to open for you. You get it? Make sure you open for yourself, because you never know what someone has to put there.
Atakategedde akasit next to that door.
Kumpi no
Ekisooka otandise okusanyukirira, fulumirawo. Ekyokubiri kyayise okupanchinga ebyokunywa. Punching drinks is mixing types. For example, ogenda n'okyalira omuntu mu abawala abakyala, n'okyalira omuntu, oba you get somewhere in a space with someone
newabelanga
yakukyalidde n'aleeta ebyokunywa in that Coca-Cola oba in that Minute Maid, there is a possibility nti bapanchinzemu something, you get so that is what they call punching, okumixinga ebyokunywa. But me, this is where I want to take it on from. Mukwano gwaffe, omwana oyo newankubadde nga weetaaga okubeera serious with them, you need sometimes to be tough on them, but also be careful not to go overboard. Tulabye abaana abakulidde mu bikomera nga they don't allow them to move out whatsoever. And the day they get to move out and have some freedom, probably they've gone to campus and they're in a hostel. My dear, that's the day they start the journey of getting
they
wasted.
Get exposed to everything that you hid.
So kakati nga you're trying to be disciplining omwana ono, sukyabadagezaako okwogerako, and I just want to throw a little bit more light onto it, nti nga ogezaako okubeera careful n'omwana ono, ng'ogezaako okumudisciplininga, also leave them a point where they can also exercise self-will. Omulage what you believe and what your values are, and they have a point where they will decide, kubanga ye ng'omwana mu ye agenda kubeeramu ne this yearning okwesalirawo. So there is also that point where you choose to give them that point, that space for their self-will.
Wow, thank you, Stuart, for that supplement and advice to our dear audience. Just in a second, James.
Parents, let's take time to talk to our children. Let's be free with them. Let's give them an opportunity to speak out. Let's not be busy. Sometimes our children want to communicate and we are busy, so they end up communicating to their phones, they end up communicating to TV, they end up communicating to neighbors,
online dating,
online stuff, and all the games. So let us communicate to our children and give them time.
Well, me, I would say that even in the midst of disciplining or encourage, don't forget to love them. Don't forget to love them. Omuntu, there is a reason why someone gets addicted. Some of them, it's because they have lost a loved one, so they get drowned in the habit. But love pulls them out.
Also,
believe in them. Mujeyo, show them love. Love, I don't mean spoil. Give them an opportunity to speak up. Why am I in this position? And when you're dealing with them, deal with them in love.
Also, some of them get exposed to drugs by a person who seemingly shows love to them. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They
Kakati,
divert
so,
them.
but also, njala emphasizing on faith. By introducing omwana onto faith, it will help them. Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, but I've been having a joke in the mouth. You know, when you talked about punching Coca-Cola and what, I realized that children are trained from young age to punch. Have you seen a child mix Fanta, Coca-Cola?
Yeah, I saw my little one do it. I found it interesting. Now that you say it, Mommy, when I do this, it tastes nice.
And then when you talked about being strict, parents being too strict, you realize that a child will be in boarding, O level, A level, and when they say in campus, but it's been a great discussion, friends. I feel like we have really helped very many viewers to make sense of why things are happening, and also we can be able to support each other at the end of the day. Ganama Semo, take. Let us be very, very careful and mindful of our mental health. We want to sign off right here and right now by first saying happy Eid to you all out there. But as a Sunrise crew, we want to say bye-bye.